We continue our dig into resiliency, looking at mindfulness in this video. And there's a lot of confusion, I think, about what mindfulness really is. And so we're going to look at it from a scientific perspective and understanding that all of this focus on mindfulness that's happening in schools, that people are integrating into their own lives, is based on this scientific evidence that simply when we pay attention, we are more likely to live in a way that's aligned with our values. We're more likely to live in a way that at the end of the day, we can be proud of. And so let me share once again my screen with you to get a quick look at these pillars of resiliency. And again, there are lots of additional pieces, but these are our five main domains. So mindfulness, being aware, paying attention. Do I know why I'm doing what I'm doing? In this COVID-19 era, I think a lot of us, we all are living with increased uncertainty, uh, increased instability as we look at the future or we look at next week. We're being asked to do things in ways that we've never had to do them before. And adapting so quickly is not necessarily in our wheelhouse as humans. Um, and so if you find yourself feeling overwhelmed or exhausted or tired in ways that you haven't felt before, if you have moments of hopelessness, mindfulness will be an anchor for us in all of this. And one of the things that I have found really helpful in my own Christian faith is thinking about Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God. Because I know when my mind is running and I have all sorts of thoughts, monkey mind is sometimes what it's called, or ants start showing up, automatic negative thoughts. Um, it's hard to be still. And so simply paying attention can help us do that. If we go back to an exercise I shared in the intro video about permission slips, that too can help us get calm again. And again, none of this is to deny these hard emotions. Instead, it's giving us tools to walk into them, to walk through them with more connection and more courage on the other side. So St. Paul in Romans talks about the renewing of our minds. Therefore, by the renewing of your minds, may you know the good, perfect, and pleasing will of God. And again, I think neuroscience is showing us things about how God's wired our brain. So we can actually, God's given us the capacity to actually rewire our brains. So when we have negative thoughts, and negative thoughts, they really develop trenches in our brains. Think of like a prairie trail. The more you drive on it, the deeper those ruts get. Same thing is true. And the deeper those ruts get, the faster it is for the neurons to send messages. So to rewire it takes more work because, of course, the automatic negative highway, it's the super highway, and the brain wants instant information. Mindfulness is that moment of awareness when we hit pause and we say, but is that really true? Okay, so we can start getting really ramped up, really caught by hard emotion. And when we hit pause and we mindfully, just in an awareness, if you think about it just as an awareness, we can say, okay, I am really angry right now. Then you bring in self-compassion, which allows you to say, I'm really angry right now because I've never had to balance my kids learning from home and all of the things changing at our facility all of the time and not feeling like I really know what I'm supposed to be doing and managing all of my own fear. So of course I feel angry. Mindfulness is about being aware of what's going on inside of us and then also outside. Not in the effort to change who we are, to morph into what we think the external would like us to be, but rather to just give our minds more information so that we're tuned in. So we're going to bring in some of the research. And again, mindfulness is connected with neuroscience, looking at how you can change the pathways in your brain. So Daniel Siegel has done lots of work studying brain imaging. And when he talks about mindfulness, he talks about these 4 components: curiosity, openness, acceptance, and love. So curiosity, inquiring without judgment. What's going on? What am I feeling? What is my reaction? What are my thoughts? Because if we attach judgment to them, we might push them away too quickly and lose the learning. Openness, having the freedom to experience what is occurring as simply a truth, again, without judgment. Acceptance, taking as a given the reality of and the need to be precisely where you are. Love, being kind, compassionate, empathetic, considerate to others and to yourself. So I want us to practice a little bit of mindfulness, because even in the best of times, when it feels like the economy is clicking along and things seem pretty routine and stable, we can be pulled in 100 different directions, all in a moment. So what I'd love for you to do is find 4 objects that are the same. So maybe you're at your desk, 4 paper clips. Maybe you're at home. I dug these out of the change drawer. I have 4 nickels. So we just need 4 objects that are exactly the same, okay? So if you use paper clips that are colored, they've got the plastic sheathing, we're looking for all of them to be exactly the same. So then pick one of your 4 objects and look at it. Really be focused on what that one object looks like. For me, it's 1 nickel. Okay, then we're gonna put it with the other 3. And then here is the trick or the challenge. Can we find that same object a second time? So let me see if I can. Okay, it is this one, because there is a little bit of dirt on the corner there. All right, so that is a mindfulness exercise. Here's a second mindfulness exercise. We have these senses, so let's tap into them. So you think we're going to use our 5 senses. And the first sense we're going to use is our ability of sight. And so look around, and what is it that you see? So think of 5 things. So I see a chair, my bag, my cell phone, a book, a pen. I think that's 5. The next thing we're going to do is, what do I hear? What are 4 things? We went from 5, 4. What are 4 things you hear? So I hear the whir of my computer. I hear the dryer downstairs. I hear the TV as my family's watching a movie. And I hear the rustling of the blinds in the window. Okay. So now 3. What are 3 things that I can touch? So as I sit here in my chair, I'm aware my hands are touching each other. My feet are kind of in scratchy socks. And then I can feel my elbows on my legs. Then 2, what are 2 things you can smell? Okay, you think of 2 things you can smell right now. So I can smell my lipstick, and I can smell some potpourri that I sprayed a bit earlier. And then the final thing is, what can you taste? Are you tasting anything in this moment? And I guess I would just say, what I'm tasting is, um, I don't know, tastes kind of like water because I ate a while ago. So that's one way to ground yourself in the present. So if you find yourself going too far in the future or ruminating on the past, that's a way to pull yourself into the present. Here's a third exercise. All right. I'd like you to count to 26 in your head. Okay. And when I say go, go ahead and do it. And then when you've done it, uh, come back and you can hit pause. And then when you've done it, come back and I'll give you the next step. Okay, now I'm imagining you did that, okay? So now I want you to say the ABCs when I say go. Go. And now, whenever you're done, okay? So pretty easy things to do. Now let's combine those two things. So we're just saying 1, 2, 3 up to 26, and we're saying the ABCs in our heads. We're combining it like a zipper merge. So A, B, no, A1, B2, C3. It might feel like you're calling bingo for a while, but you're going to work your way through the whole alphabet. Okay, so go ahead and work your way through all those numbers. So go ahead and hit pause and then come on back when you're ready. Okay, welcome back. So do you just want to throw a shoe at me right now? That's super hard, isn't it? And it's because our brains love one task at a time. We love to do one thing at a time. And that's how we get into this state of flow, into being able to really be productive, really be focused, really being creative. So interruptions are hard for our brains. So if you need, and I know interruptions happen all the time in our work, but if you struggle to feel like you get into a state of flow with something, maybe take a look at how you have your work plotted out in the day. And are there times of the day or of the week when you are able to have a bigger chunk of time to focus in on things that require flow? And if not, then you can chunk it out into designated pieces of time. So it's always harder for us to do this exercise of merging the 1, 2, 3s and the ABCs. And those are simple tasks, right? But every time you have to merge them, you kind of lose that sense of flow, that sense of current. So mindfulness would encourage us to do one thing at a time. And that might not feel natural at all for us, but it's the way that our brains work best. So be aware of how you are these days. There's lots of resources on mindfulness that are available. And again, as always, if I could be of any help to you, please let me know.